Hi, so it's me, Melissa Bautista. So after our 8-week course, we are now to a close. Unfortunately, I did not get my assignment in by 11:59 p.m. So I'm going to ask for grace and explain that I had a really hard time yesterday with my child. I got upset and I just didn't do it because I was upset. I was hurt. It's not God's fault. So what this brings me to is, can God trust you with trouble? We all have trouble in our lives. Afflictions come, and we can look at it many different ways. We can have many different perspectives, but in John 10:10, the Bible states that the thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But I am come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. And so you choose what your response to someone's actions are. And unfortunately, my little child is 12, my son, and full of hormones and growing up and the pressure of being a teenager and being cool as the other kids are. And it's very tough in a world like that. For 2 years he's went to a Christian school, and we decided this year that we were going to let him go to a regular school because that's what he chose to do. And so it's been very difficult for us. And when he got mad at me and he cussed at me yesterday, and pride flew all over me, and I took off in there and I was just so mad. I was just so mad, and I did not control myself to the point we were arguing and yelling, and I ended up leaving for a little bit, so I had to cool down. So can God trust you with trouble? And I was so mad, and none of that's God's fault. God done nothing wrong. God done nothing wrong. Yet here I am, and I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, Lord, you know, I do the best that I can, and it seems like everything comes at me at one time, and this happens and that happens. And he's been doing really good for me here lately. I mean, he's made sure I've had everything. My tire busted on my car. I was going to the parade, and I had a date with my niece's grandma. We were going to, meet up and have a little, friend date, and not like, but we had an enjoyable time coming up. My son had his friend, and the tire bust, and I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do now? So I had to call the tow truck guy, and praise the Lord, we are friends because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of his testimony. He came and got my car off the side of the road, and I had to call my mom to come. I was like, bring some Fix-A-Flat. And so I thought the tire just went flat, and I tried to, it had a gash in it like this. I mean, it was huge. There was no way that you could plug it or anything. And so I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to sit in the car for like 2 hours, and he came and he got me, and he took my car home, and then he took the tire off. The next morning, my mom gave me the money to go get it fixed, and then he came and put the tire back on for me. Never missed a beat, and I didn't have any money till payday. Didn't have no money till payday, and God provided everything, and the man didn't make me pay till Friday. So, and I look at, well, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. What about, God provided for the tire, and what about God provided for the gas, and what about God provided for the food, and what about God kept you, when you didn't even want to keep you, and God kept you safe, and, do you even acknowledge what God has done for you? So I want to confess my faults one to another so that I may be healed. That I have been blaming stuff on God that's not his fault because he's doing what he can. And the pastor said something great yesterday whenever she was speaking. She said, we as God's children think God can do anything he wants. He can do it right now. And he can. But he has governing authorities, and there's always something governing the other, you know, because that's what makes the church work. You know, you've got deacons and you've got the fivefold ministry, and you've got, you know, that's just what makes things work. And so he has guidelines, line upon line, that he has to follow with us. And we have to pass these tests in order for him to bless us. We don't have to pass a test in order for him to bless us, but in order for him to move us to the next level, we have to pass those tests. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I know I failed again. Forgive me. So I was like, well, it's not going to hurt me not to get this in by 11:59, you know. I was so mad, I wasn't even going to do it at all. So I'm taking my shot at doing it. To see if I get a grade. But when I went and looked and seen it was 30% of the grade, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I'll pass it now. And I had an A+. And so, can God trust you with trouble? I even got to the point where I was like, you know what, God, I'm just going to sow it. I'm not even going to do it. I'm just going to sow it. But no, I ain't going to be deceived with sowing that. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that, God, I ask you in front of the whole nation to forgive me. I ask you formally to strengthen me to the place in my mind where I'm as strong as my power in you and the word, that rejection doesn't hold me back. Because the enemy does that, because he watches, and I feel like I've been just under extreme scrutiny, because it's everything, and it's like, let somebody say something to me. I'm like, oh God, that hurt me, you know, that hurt me. Oh, and I just cry and cry and cry. So, can God trust you with trouble? And I want God to be able to trust me. I trust God. And I want to ask Jesus to forgive me. And I want to ask you guys to forgive me for, you know, failing you and not getting this done. It's been really tough here the last few days, the last few weeks, I would say. So, as I'm on my lunch break at work, I want to bless you guys. I want to thank you for listening to me. I want to finish strong. Can God trust you with trouble? Can God trust you with trouble? You be blessed. I love you guys. Goodbye.